It's pretty hot here in Lyon. Right now is 31 Celsius or 88 Fahrenheit. And yet I'm handling it okay. Part of that is dressing for the heat. Linen shirts are better than cotton. Light colors better than dark. Hats are really important too. This is light duty, and this is heavy duty. But there's something about this city that also helps, and that is shade. There's a lot of shade in this city.
I often get asked to talk about urbanism and hot climates. How do you go places or spend time outside when it's really hot out? Full disclosure, there's a reason I cover winter cycling so much. I live in a place with harsher winters than almost all of you watching. Our summer heat can be oppressive, but it doesn't stand out as much compared to other places. It's no Singapore, or Spain, or South Carolina. But I do spend a lot of time outside, filming for this channel, transportation, exercise. I don't have a car, so I guess I have a lot of experience with the elements. We also visited Lyon, France recently. While not on the level of Spain, it is warmer than Canada, especially at the extremes. There was a monster heat wave a few weeks after we left that we fortunately missed.
France is reporting an additional 1,000 deaths due to the heat wave. That number is likely to increase as more data is collected.
And it has some interesting examples that I want to use. In this video, I want to explain what, based on my experience, cities can do to beat the heat with the most dramatic effect. Some of them North America gets wrong. On others, Europe lags behind. Do you notice anything about where people are standing here? People seem to prefer the left side of the street here. Any idea why? What's so nice about this patch of grass in particular? It's the shade. It's always the shade. When I walk around on a hot summer day, there is a dramatic difference in comfort when I'm in the shade versus being directly exposed to the hot sun. There are lots of ways to create shade. I love a nice tree canopy. Other installations. And of course, the point of a city, buildings. Streets with more of a canyon effect, that's taller buildings relative to the street, lower the temperature of the air and the amount of sun radiation hitting your skin, which matters even more for your perception of heat and comfort. That's according to this review of 250 studies. That's why, in particularly hot climates like the US Sunbelt, cities are built with narrow streets and close buildings in order to maximize shade. Wait a second, I'm hearing that's not the case. They don't do that. At all. At least not anymore. Compare this residential street in Phoenix, 1-story buildings, to this one in Chicago, 2 to 4-story buildings, also more trees. And now this one in France, 3 to 5-story buildings, much narrower street. Let's just rotate through these. Can you see how drastically exposure to sun changes based on the height of the buildings, width of the street, and presence of trees? It's a completely different experience. At least on a hot summer day with the sun beating down on you. When people tell me you can't walk or bike in their hot climate, I like to ask, was your city actually designed for the shade and comfort of pedestrians? Or is your city mostly short buildings, wide streets, and tons of black asphalt, leaving pedestrians to bake in the sun while you say, sorry, I guess it's just our climate? It feels like another way of saying, we didn't try, but I'm sure you can't do it. If you live in a northern winter climate, you can at least debate whether more shade from buildings in the summer is worth losing the sunlight in the winter. I personally err on the side of yes, especially in a warming world, and especially when winter is the cloudy season here anyway. But it's a valid question and trade-off. But if the summer sun is clearly the most oppressive where you live, the answer is obvious. Your climate would be much more bearable for pedestrians if you seriously built for shade. Obviously, most suburban environments will never be transformed into this. Some are trying. A more manageable goal is to prioritize shade at parks and public spaces. Places for people to linger, rest, and get out of the sun. You might be surprised at how many of them don't have that much shade. Priority number 2 should be adding more street trees and street greenery. Not only do the trees add shade, any space converted from pavement, especially dark pavement, to something more organic is going to hold less heat. Why not turn more parking spots into green space? While Lyon has some great examples of shady spaces, the suburb of Lyon that I visited didn't have a ton of shade either on its streets. I sat here for a few minutes to get out of the sun. Maybe these walls are useful after all.
When I'm outside on a hot day filming, this is the holy grail, a water fountain. 30 degrees Celsius right now, I need to drink a lot of water. I carry around a 1 liter water bottle in my backpack or on my bike. And if I can't fill it up, I just can't be outside for more than an hour or two. If I'm out for an especially long time, I might bring a sports drink as well. I've heard online that reusable water bottles are a European stereotype of Americans. But have you tried existing outside at 30 degrees plus for multiple hours? Not in an air-conditioned SUV, actually doing things and going places. You need a lot of water. That's not some American health fad. That's called sweat. Over just a few years, Montreal has added 125 water fountains and filling stations like this one. It was a citizen priority from the participatory budget. The other side to drinking water is public bathrooms. If you don't know when you're going to be able to go, you might hold back on hydrating. On a day like this, that is actually dangerous. So after shade, the second most important priority of cities that want to build for the heat, to make it possible for people to spend time outside without a car, is accessible and frequent water fountains and public bathrooms. I actually haven't noticed this to be substantially better or worse in Europe than North America. I'm sure some people will argue about that in the comments though. While not a daily need, swimming pools, splash pads, and misting stations can be very nice in heat waves as well. I'm currently at a library. Well, just back there. One of the more than 200 indoor public places with air conditioning listed on the City of Montreal website. And honestly, this helps a ton to make hot days workable. If you're outside on a hot day for 6 hours, being able to take a break of 15 or 30 minutes in an air-conditioned space can be a lifesaver. And knowing you can take refuge somewhere gives you the peace of mind to stay out for longer. There's an American stereotype that Europeans hate AC. This varies a lot by country, but I'll use France as an example. France does have low rates of AC installation, not just compared to much hotter places like the US South or Australia, but even compared to here in Quebec. That's home installations, but I think it's broadly true in other contexts as well. There are many reasons for this. Buildings are older, electricity is more expensive over there. But I paid attention to French media in the recent heat wave, and public perception does seem to be part of it. It's less of a blanket cultural aversion though, more of an active debate with different camps. Environmentalists in France are definitely more negative on AC than what I see in North America.
What we need is not an AC. What we need is comfortable places. It's like if you have skin cancer and the doctor will give you cream. What will happen to you? You will die.
It's time to question the fact that we use always more technology to solve problems that technology itself has created.
In contrast, this Canadian Green Party has taken a different approach, championing AC in schools and proposing to subsidize the kind of heat pumps that provide both heating and cooling. That's alongside fighting climate change, not in opposition to it.
Because of the climate crisis, extreme heat is going to become more deadly in this province, and we want to ensure that we're prepared.
Air conditioning provides enough comfort that, if you polarize against it and cede it to the other side of the political spectrum, you're just gonna lose. One argument I hear, AC doesn't eliminate the heat, it just moves it outside. Sure, just like fridges. We prioritize enclosed spaces with food and people. Does a big improvement inside justify a little more heat outside? I would argue, yes. AC uses electricity, which comes from fossil fuels, which makes climate change worse. That depends on your electricity grid. In places like France and here in Quebec, electricity is already low carbon. Nuclear, hydro, wind, solar. In places where the grid isn't clean, it seems like attention is better focused on decarbonizing the grid, rather than discouraging the use of AC in particular. There are 1,000 other uses of electricity that don't get polarized or moralized in the same way. Home heating is seen as a basic necessity, not a luxury, even though it too uses electricity, or even directly uses fossil fuels, depending on where you live. After the latest heat wave, it seems like Green politicians in France are moderating, at least on air conditioning in public buildings. even if they remain skeptical of widespread adoption by individuals. Personally, I'm in favor of AC in houses too, but I agree that the highest priority is to make sure public buildings, like schools, libraries, and community centers, are cool, accessible refuges during heat waves. This video could have covered a lot more small tricks for dealing with the heat. If you're on a bike, racks and panniers are better than backpacks because they improve airflow and reduce back sweat. But the reason I started this with my experience of shade in Lyon is that I don't think it's about individual coping strategies as much as how cities are built. I wanted to focus on what makes the most dramatic difference in my experience. First, shade. Cities need to give people protection from direct sun, most urgently in parks and plazas, but also on regular streets too. Make the environment less harsh. Second, water. Drinking fountains, refill stations, public bathrooms. Hydration is not a health fad, it's a basic necessity in hot weather. And third, places to cool down. Air-conditioned public buildings like libraries and community centers where people can take a break and get out of the heat. It makes all the difference. If your city doesn't have these things, or it's not trying to implement these things, you can't tell me how your climate is too hot for urbanism. Your city isn't even trying.
Even if you're at the mercy of your city, you can still try to follow these as an individual. Try to stay in the shade to the extent that you can, especially when you stop to talk or look for directions or send a text. Bring water and take regular sips. If you can't fill up, you'll have to buy some water. Spending the money is better than being dehydrated and feeling lightheaded. Take breaks, even just 15 minutes at a time, in air-conditioned buildings like malls and libraries if you can. Thanks for watching through to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and a special thanks to our supporters on Patreon.